Anthony Malchieri, look at both of us. Different hotels, different cities.
You know what? You are so good at communicating. You should do communication leadership.
I should do that. Good question. I'm going to do that right now.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Lives. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to No Vacancy Live today. That's Anthony Malchieri. I'm Glenn Hausman. You're watching episode 608. Anthony, look at us. I'm at Mint House in downtown New York City in the Wall Street District. You're up in Boston. How cool is that?
Yeah, and you're working, I'm working. I'm at an IHG conference where I just got off stage, and you're down at Mint House doing leadership communication or communication leadership.
Yeah. So I did a 3-hour session this morning. How much fun was that? All about communicating, taking all the skills that we've learned here, doing podcasts, public speaking engagements, and turning that into some valuable tools they could use when they're doing sales and just basically getting their messaging out there. So it was a whole lot of fun. It was a whole lot of high energy, but it's great to be back here with you. What are you doing up in Boston?
Well, we just did a Q&A with my friend Jimmy Taylor, who runs a lot of, I'll just say, runs a lot of things. I'm putting a pillow on my back so my back don't hurt because I'm old. And he asked me to come up here and speak with people. So we did a Q&A, and it was a lot of fun, my friend. And
That's awesome.
you know, the same questions come up, and the same question is going to probably come up on the show with our good friend and my dear friend, who I love very much, will be in on the show in 1 second. That what is the secret? What's the future? What's going on? And it's the same answer, and I'll answer it once our guest is on. But it's everybody's looking for a magic trick. There are no magic tricks.
But tell that to David Copperfield. He will disagree.
Well, I had a friend go to a David Copperfield show recently, and she said it got so bad that she saw him running down the aisle. She said the show was terrible because the show he's been doing. Listen, the guy's done the show 1,000 times.
I know. I can't imagine. We've only done it 608. So
you know, it's funny. My daughter works in Manhattan at Off-Broadway Theater, helping manage the theater. Right. She works for the person that runs it, and the young lady's been in the show The Perfect Crime for 30 years. She's the longest running actress in any play in Broadway, off-Broadway history. And she owns the theater. She manages the theater. Matter of fact, Friends is doing previews tonight, off-Broadway show of Friends, and my daughter is kind of involved in all that stuff. And she says she doesn't know how she does it. She's an NYU professor. She teaches. She runs the theater. She acts every single night in the theater. It's just amazing.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Some people have so much energy.
You have a lot of energy. Right.
Yeah, I burned off a lot of it today. I've already been speaking in front of a room for 3 hours, so we'll see how this conversation is going to go. Speaking of IHG, I'm delighted to announce that I am going to be part of a discussion at their annual conference during their general session coming up on May 17th. So I'll be at Venetian Palazzo with all of IHG. I'm really looking forward to that.
And we're doing our podcast that week from there.
Well, we're definitely going to be doing it for another company. We're trying to get a deal with as well at the beginning of the month in Vegas. We'll see what happens with this one too. But yeah, we're working on both of those. All right. So Anthony, today is National Mom and Pop Business Day, right? And one of the cool things is so many hoteliers are really mom and pop businesses. I mean, naturally, we think about the major hotel companies, the major brands, but there are so many hoteliers that own 1 or 2 properties that fundamentally, at the end of the day, it's really a very small, intimate mom and pop business, right?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 things I want to say that. Yes, 100%. And the person that is going on the show today is running a pop and pop business.
Yes, that is true.
Which I really love. So it's a pop and pop business. And number 2, you will see that our guest today has A, the best backdrop we've ever had, and B, the best outfit we've ever had on the show.
All right. Well, I humbly disagree. I think I'm a snappier dresser. All right. I'm lying. Gregory Henderson. Welcome to the show, Greg. Man, last time I saw you was February 2021, major snowstorm. and we were taking our shoes off every single time we went in one of your incredible suites.
That is still happening, and there's snow on the ground right now, and it's like 17 degrees.
Oh.
So it's very similar.
So did you like my reference to your pop and pop business?
I did. In fact, I was thinking in my head, I was like, mental note to say we're a pop and pop business, and then you did it for me.
No, the reason I did it is because I knew you were going to correct us.
But it's whatever. It's the same. Same concept.
So a couple things. Explain what that means, and explain us who you are and what you are as far as the buildings and what you've built there. And you've been on our show, I think, 2 or 3 times now, and it gets better and better. And I know you've worked your ass off, but it's you guys have made a great success out of it.
Well, thank you. So I'm in what is called, is there any way I can keep looking at your faces while I'm talking?
Do whatever you want. Look wherever you want.
Oh, there we go. But so where are you?
Then I'm just looking at myself, and I can't deal with that because I see my shiny forehead.
I get it. You are gorgeous, though. So if I were you, I'd look at myself a lot. So where are you?
So I'm on the upper landing right now of our fantasy cottage called Dracula's Fangs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had this little Dracula accent rehearsed, but it comes out sounding like Vladimir Putin or something like that. But anyway, what you're looking at behind me is Dracula's throne chair. This is one of our 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, all immersive fantasy cottages that were completed in 2020. A lot of your viewers are already aware of us, so I don't want to repeat myself too much, but we opened in conjunction with the pandemic. So it was quite the journey after 6 years of building this. But it's not just this, which is cottages and normal guest rooms and a mansion and a pool and a spa. It's also our original baby, which is called the Roxbury Motel, which started back in 2003. So next year marks our 20-year anniversary, and it started out as 10 rooms, and then it had 3 different expansions until our most recent, the Roxbury at Stratton Falls expansion. Our first expansion was in 2007, which was our first foray into really going more over the top with themes. And you, Anthony, stayed in Genie's Bottle somewhere along that time, maybe a couple of years after that. So we're still going at it and trying to survive what all hoteliers, I think, are going through. But those are probably some questions you want to ask.
Now, I know.
Hold on one second, Anthony. Let me just tell people, if they want an in-depth dive into seeing all these amazing cottages, check back on our show on February 9th, 2021, where we're on location and producer Dave is running around from cottage to cottage showing it off. So you'll definitely want to check out February 9th.
That
Anthony,
was a fun
please
day.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we talked about today, my Q&A session at IHG, and we talk about it to nauseam, unfortunately, on the show, but we can't get away from it. You know, labor. Now, I know you have a very loyal labor pool up there. How are you guys finding it?
It is a nightmare. And I just want to say, well, I'm dramatic, so nightmare may be stretching it.
We had no idea that about you.
Yeah, me either.
But I don't know what I would do without the dedicated team that you mentioned, several of which you've met over the years, you know, many of which have been with us for 10, 12, 13, 14 years. And they're working their butts off. They're working so hard to make up for the other people that we can't get.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, we are still actually, I mean, it's always been hard in this rural area. We're not even in a mid-range city. We are in a very small community, in a very sparsely populated region in New York State. So labor was always difficult. Now it's, you know, I mean, we haven't brought back our massage therapists yet.
Wow.
I mean, we actually only removed our mask mandate 2 weeks ago,
Wow.
or in the hallways and stuff, because Omicron was still surging so much in this area. And because we actually still have so many guests, or did then, that's maybe starting to change, that were still coming to us that were concerned and wanted to see our COVID protocols. But anyway, you know, I still have to take rooms offline to ensure that the check-ins that we've got for that day are going to get cleaned. So I'm not, you know, Anthony, I know that I don't know if you still have it. You were involved with the yield management company. You know, it's like bad yield management right now because I can't operate at full capacity still. Now,
Because
granted,
of labor.
Right.
some of that is because of the way we do things. You know, if I wasn't a stickler for making sure a room was not only clean but inspected the way I want it inspected, and any paint touch-ups that need to happen are done, that doesn't mean things don't fall through the cracks. But
Right.
you know, if we were just banging it out, I could open up more rooms. But when you have things that are this elaborate, you can't see much of the rest of the room. There's a lot to deal with each clean.
Right.
So it's been difficult and still is.
I guess that's the burden of actually caring, because I stayed at a hotel very recently where it just felt like nobody cared. Everyone had given up. And I understand that in core downtowns, you may not have the money to do some repairs and stuff like that, but there was a lot of dust everywhere. I got like a towel that had like Sharpie marks all over it, real evident that you don't care. So you could take the easy way out and not care, but it must be such a burden, especially as a pop and pop business, to put all of that responsibility on your shoulders to make sure everything is perfect all the time. What is that like for a small business where really the buck stops with you every single time?
Well, luckily I've always had OCD, so it's like it's found its outlet here, which is a good thing. But it's a lot. It's overwhelming. Joe and I are exhausted. I feel like I'm complaining all the time. I'm also grateful that we survived and we made it through the pandemic.
Well, you know what? Let me interrupt you. Let me just tell you, you wanted this. I know you for a long time. You wanted this. You worked so hard for this. Every ounce of your body for the last 12, 13, 14 years has been nothing to that you're exactly where you wanted to be. You built the dream. You wrote the dream. You're living the dream. But dreams are hard work, and that's what you're saying. You're saying I am exactly where I wanted to be. But it not only comes with a price, but you did something that most people couldn't do. I couldn't do it. Most people I know couldn't do it. So is it challenging? Is it difficult? 100% sure. But you're in the dream that you built.
And I'll tell you, and people have heard me say it a million times in interviews and stuff. The guests keep us going. You know,
right.
It's that. Oh my God! Just this past weekend, we had a group of women literally running to us. Joe and I happened to be walking together, which doesn't happen very often. So like screaming from the other side of the property, wanting to come up and talk and saying, you know, being so effusive and thanking us and talking about
wonderful,
you know, lots of wonderful things. So that keeps us going. And I don't think that I could do this or could have done this in an era before social media, because the positive feedback that we get on social media also helps keep us going. But you mentioned something about, I heard one of you say the word repairs. That is number 2, staffing and supplies, which I'm sure you're hearing from everyone. I have had our original motel, and Anthony, you know this, I fought the negative connotation of that word, you know, all these years. We purposefully kept it the name because of its exterior access doors. But for anybody who doesn't know who we are, it's not like a typical motel. But anyway, it has, you know, through the wall PTAC units that perform the cooling and the heating for the room, like so many, even big major franchise hotels still use them.
Yep.
And I have had our model for 4 replacements on order since May 27th.
Oh my gosh.
And
10 months?
The brand is Amana, and they keep just this morning I was on the phone again, speaking of pop and pop. It's, you know, it comes down to us when it gets to it, doing all the ordering for a lot of this stuff, and they can't get a response from Amana. So we're having to like up until the nth hour of a check-in, repairing things that in another environment we could have just purchased the replacement. So literally before this started, I think your producer may have heard me on the phone. I was like, take me off the chain, because I was getting all these texts from this wonderful guy who is one of the guys that comes to service a lot of our HVAC stuff. And we had one unit that just decided to go kaput. It got a leak somehow from some sort of vibration. He actually spent the night here last night.
Oh my gosh!
Because he had to tent the unit because it was 10 degrees last night, and he had to drain it and put in new refrigerant. Like I guess you need refrigerant even when it's heat, or something has to be. I don't understand all the stuff behind.
That's why you have people. Right.
Exactly. So that is the 3 o'clock check-in today. And I'm getting these texts before we start this of him saying, I don't think I'm going to get to this. And I'm booked all the rest of the week. I put everybody else off. So my mind right now, while I'm talking to you, is like, I don't think I'm going to be able to move those people if he can't get to it, but maybe I can. So it's just constant with that.
So I want to welcome everybody. If you're just joining us, welcome to Gregory's therapy session.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
So Gregory, I mean, this is just one issue, and you're probably dealing with 500 of these particular issues. And as a mom and pop business, again, the responsibility falls to you. What are you doing to keep yourself emotionally, psychologically, and physically healthy at a time that you're dealing with so much stress?
Did you ever see The Breakfast Club?
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact,
Ali Sheedy's character, she says, "Vodka, tons."
Right. Also,
you can't do that because I can't be, drunk.
Really funny to look back on that movie now, and everyone's like, "Sushi, what's that? That's so weird."
Exactly.
And now everyone's eating it for lunch.
Go ahead. I'll let you answer that. Then I have a question. I'm sorry.
That is a work in progress.
Yeah.
And luckily, we have been able to get away like 2 or 3 times now since things reopened. Some of it was I have some family things. My family hadn't seen in a while, and my mother broke her leg, so I was able to go home and help with that. But Joe and I have actually been away just like for 2 days a few times. No, actually in the fall we did make it on a real vacation, but we're determined to do that more. Number one. And number two, we do try to get home by 7 o'clock. So that doesn't mean we still don't get texts.
Yeah.
And there's like a post-traumatic stress disorder mechanism that we have. Whenever we hear our text ding, it's like never, it's what's it going to be, or the phone ring.
All right.
But we do try to get home, and we also try to not be here at 6:30 or 7 in the morning. During construction, all those years I was here, I had to be here at 5:30 in the morning because that's when the crew got here, which meant getting up at 4:30. Blah 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 blah. So that is better. Also, I just got a text. So my front office person was able to find another unit for the people that were checking in today, so I can think a little more clear-headed.
Now on to the next problem, right?
So let me kind of explain. You've heard me. Everyone has heard me say that you've done everything from literally. I think you were tasting the concrete when it was being poured, right? to picking out everything that I see in the picture behind you. You've worked really hard. So when people say they want to go in the hotel business and they want to be in a mom and pop or pop and pop or a mom and mom, when you're in this business, it is very, very difficult. It is like driving in the Daytona 500. You can't take your eyes off the road and you can't take your hands off the wheel. That's what you're experiencing normally. Now, with all the prices going up, supply chain issues, with labor issues, it is really close to impossible to achieve what you're doing, and it's absolutely exhausting. I would actually tell someone that's looking to go into a hotel in kind of an area that you're in that maybe now is not the time to do it. And it's the first time in the history of my career that I would actually tell people maybe now is not the time to go into, if you're going to run that kind of business, maybe now is the time to take a break and not do it, because I'm hearing it from every brand, every operator, that it is at the point where it's not impossible. What's happening is you're losing money. You're spending money that you don't need to spend, that you didn't need to spend 2 years ago. Your people appreciate it, the employees appreciate it, and the guests appreciate it. But typically, you're really finding people just getting upset. Well, I don't have housekeeping services. Hey, man, we got the building open for you. We got air conditioning for you. We got the pool open for you. I know it sucks, but I can barely keep the lights on. And that is in every area of our country right now. And someone said to me today in a Q&A, like, what's the secret? I said, this is the secret. Be nice to your employees. Don't let them ask for raises. Give them, a raise before they ask for it. Support them in a real way, like they're family. That is the only way. And even then, they're probably going to leave eventually. But that is the only secret I have for people is I've always tried to give people, raises or bonuses or bumps or whatever it is and promotions before they ask for it. And now when people ask for it, it's like, I really think that's the only secret. But people are still going to move on. That doesn't say, oh, no good deed goes unpunished. No, it's just changing time, and people, things are more expensive. And if somebody's making X amount of dollars an hour, that day's worth of pay may go for their gas for the week.
Absolutely. Last holiday season, it's the old way of saying it, Christmas bonus, but it's all holiday bonus. We gave the largest bonuses it was. I don't even know what comes after quadruple. What's tenfold? I don't know. Like,
wow,
the biggest that we've ever even dreamed of being able to give, and everybody got a raise. Everybody's continuing to get raises, and like I said earlier, for our core people that have been with us, and there's some new core. There's some 2 or 3 years. I've learned with hiring too. One key is trying to find more mature people who are just starting their life or just getting out of high school or college or whatever. They have their life ahead of them, so they're a little harder to retain, even if you are paying extremely competitive wages. So, but when the labor pool is so small, you just take whatever you can get. So
yeah, but you're also very, and I mean this in the most beautiful way, you're very difficult to work with because you have very high standards. So if you have high standards for yourself, you're very easy to work with. But if you have, mediocre standards, I would imagine you and Joe were very challenging because you expect things to be perfect. I mean, everything in the background. I mean, I'm thinking about cleaning the room that you're in right now. How long does it take to clean that entire room for your crew?
At least 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
If you've got, and that's with 2 to 4 people.
Oh, so you're talking eight man hours.
I'm sorry.
It's like 8 people hours to get something like that clean.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there's no such thing as getting one done in an hour unless it's a couple and they've just really only used the bed and taken a shower. I mean, that does happen. But to your point earlier, Anthony, about not going into this business right now, I would want to say for us, because it's never been about the money for us. If it was about the money, well, back in the day, I don't know about now, but back in the day, I would have owned 4 Hilton Garden Inns or whatever, just on a highway that are cash cows. Then, that's being in the hotel business for the money. If you're in the hotel business, like on steroids, like we are, about giving people this experience, it's actually a wonderful time to be in it because everybody is so hungry for the experience, and everybody so desperately needs an escape and needs fantasy. And you go from COVID to to World War III, and it's just like we're never going to get a break from all this fear. So providing something for them that gives them a break from that, like I said earlier.
But how much harder is the business from the first year you were in it, after you got everything settled and you were really running the business, to now? How much harder? When you the first year that you were running your business, after you got it under control and renovating your first hotel?
You mean way back in 2003?
Yeah. How much harder is it to run a business now?
I can't even compare it. It's so much more difficult. But if you had asked me at the time, because we grow and we learn and everything, I knew this was going to be difficult, but I didn't count on COVID, and I didn't count on staffing issues, and I didn't count on. I knew there would be tons of maintenance, but not this level of maintenance when you create something like this. But back when we did first start, we didn't, for 3 years we didn't have a manager. We were, it was us. So I was answering the phones and taking reservations and sometimes helping cleaning, and the days in some ways were actually longer. So it was more physically exhausting maybe, but I was also 20 years younger.
Right.
But the stress level now, the mental and physical stress, is more intense now because I have so much more at stake and much bigger debt service.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, fortunately, PJC Pockets wants to come up and visit. Where is this? I can use a break. Roxbury, New York. What are you, about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of New York City?
2.5 hours north of New York City. Yes.
So when I drive, though, it's only an hour and 45 minutes. So.
If you're on the Upper West Side, close to the West Side Highway, you can do it very quickly.
Yeah.
One of the things I tell people that go up to see you, and I've been up there several times, is don't go up just like, oh, I'm going to wait for the weekend. It is so much more than that. And I'm not going to say life-changing because that's kind of so extreme, but it is altering. It is shifting. It is kind of like, this is what I want. This is how I want to live my life. Like, this is the feeling I want every day of my life. This is the way I was born. I was born in a fantasy. Mommy and daddy took care of everything, and everything was just pleasurable. Everything was easy for me as a toddler, right? Or all of us, because we don't know the difference. That's what your experience is like. It's like everything is just, it's like it's fake almost. It's like it's just like I wish I can bottle that feeling for the rest of my life.
Well, that's nice, Anthony. You hit kind of a nail on the head with that. A lot of people will say to us, you brought out like a childhood fantasy that I forgot that I had, or that I knew that I had, but like being in it, like immersed in it, I really felt like I was Cinderella or a superhero or a vampire or whatever, or a fairy, whatever.
And each of those things are a topic of one of the suites that they have for people who haven't checked out our show from last February 2021.
Yeah.
Thank you
for
to clarify that, Glenn. And another fun thing about being here is, we have this phenomenon that we didn't necessarily anticipate. People did it every once in a while at the original motel, but nothing like they do now. Pretty much every weekend or at some point during the week, there are people walking around in some kind of a costume. So there's a real aspect to it, like whether it's a whole family of Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and whatever, or a bunch of vampires or a bunch of fairies.
How fun.
Or lots of princess dresses with kids. Now we started doing this new thing. We have a cottage that's inspired by Cinderella, and I was one of my staff members. I have to give her credit. Rachel that worked on this with a guest who wanted it for their daughter's 5-year-old tea party with her father. So the father wore like a Prince Charming outfit, and his 5-year-old daughter wore her princess dress, and then we provided the entire tea party experience with the tea and crumpets and eclairs and jellies and scones and stuff. And she got to have her first tea party with her father. So now I posted that, and the way these things happen now, that's a package that a lot of people are getting. So there's a lot of that fantasy immersion.
Yeah. And, one of the things that, because you're so, you're just amazing at what you do, and you're a showman, you're truly the ringleader. And it's so beautiful to see and to see what you created, but you literally could teach and be the director of NYU hospitality or Cornell hospitality.
Oh, stop.
No, and no, take the compliment and be quiet, sir.
Okay.
The reason being is you understand the economics, you understand debt service, you understand construction, you understand how to write a friggin' contract, because that contract that you wrote to build the thing was about that big and saved your ass. Because if you didn't write it, you've been in a lot of trouble. Because there are a lot of things that came up during construction that you're like, no, read that, please. No, read that, please. So from the construction contract to the asset management to the revenue management to the fantasy Cinderella parties to the cleaning to what it takes to clean, what it takes to run an air conditioning, what it takes to make a good breakfast, what it takes to build, it takes to build the falls and that whole kind of area around the falls. You understand the business, and that's what gets lost. That if you want to be in this business, remember the business part of it before you remember the fantasy and the guy in the nice outfit, the nice glasses with the nice, beautiful, hotels all surrounding around him in the falls. This is hard business work, and you can teach that class, and you can run the whole friggin' hospitality program because you do everything as a 5-star hotel, everything.
Well, and hospitality has to be in your blood. One thing that I always tell prospective employees, and I've had some employees to tell me years later that was the toughest interview I've ever had, and I'm like, so I've laxed up a little bit, but I mentioned to them, if there's a small part of you that feels slightly resentful from being put in a situation where you feel like you're serving someone else or being a servant, instead of truly getting a sense of joy from serving someone and seeing that you've made them happy, if you don't at least on some level get some joy in that, because nobody wants to serve everybody all the time and people are nasty. I'm not saying that. But if you don't derive some sort of sense of joy from serving someone and being hospitable, then it's not the right business for you, even for a housekeeping position. Because I want to say, in my book, that the housekeeping positions, of which are our biggest, we have the most of those, that is the most noble profession in the world, at least to me. Because what more of a gift can you give someone than to have something really clean for them and make someone feel like they're safe and things are clean and beautiful? That is a huge gift. So I usually ask people, do you find, if I'm interviewing them, do you find with your room at home, if it's a young person that's still in high school, or with your apartment, do you love cleaning your space and then standing in the threshold of your door and looking at what you've completed, maybe even if it's only before you've got company or relatives coming over or something, do you feel a wonderful sense of accomplishment? And if they say, well, no, I'm kind of a pig, then I don't know if that's always a good thing. Although I've learned sometimes that doesn't matter, because there are people that are wonderful housekeepers and love making something else clean, but don't have time for their own house or whatever. So that's not always a prerequisite. Yeah.
So is there any way you can show us a little bit of where you're sitting? Can you move the camera a little bit or no?
Yeah. Does it matter if is there a way to switch it around so that it's,
only if you have that power on your computer, or if you're.
This is my phone. I can take it off of the little thing here.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Because it almost looks like a green screen.
I know, right? It's too perfect.
So I can't switch it around like you could on. That's another thing. But so this is the.
So amazing.
The throne area, and you can.
Gregory, I every time I see this, I'm still blown away by the attention to detail.
So you can see, I'm actually on the second floor. Yeah. I'll do this, and you can see the grand chandelier and the staircase.
Oops. Sorry, guys, that was my fault. That was my fault. Sorry.
That goes down, and then I'll take you
Yeah, take us everywhere. Just take us.
I'll take you into Dracula's bedroom. Oops, get my, there we go. And you can see his hands. So what you're looking at now, that ceiling is called a groin vault, which is found in many cathedrals. And in the original Bela Lugosi Dracula, we have our little tribute to him. Where is it? How am I do this? Oh, no, this way. Right here. He would take his victims down into. Can you see that? I'm looking on a little tiny. Okay.
Yep.
Down into the groin vaulted area. Here, this is one of my favorite features. I'm getting into the shower, and this is the mosaic tile backdrop in the shower of a woman presenting her neck. So this.
How long
this
did it take him to install that?
Days. That is actually a Man Ray. I'm going to take you down to the signature. I don't know. Can you see that? Does it say Man Ray?
Yep, it does.
So for anybody who knows photography, he's one of the famous photographers of all time. I had to get the rights from his family in Paris to recreate that. The little toilet room is there.
Okay, I'm going to back up for a second because you keep walking around. That's fine. But how does one get in touch with Man Ray's family, and how long does that take? And what was that process like?
Weeks. So I found the image in a like a, I don't even know what you call it, where you can buy images, buy like posters and things. And I bookmarked it, and then I went back, and it had been removed. And I knew it was Man Ray, so I just kept Googling and Googling, and found this one site that said something about. I was actually a lawsuit. I found a lawsuit of someone who had used an image for something, and it said something about the such and such trust family estate of Man Ray. So then I Googled that name and found that entity and emailed them with that photo. And that's how it happened. And then, and they originally said no. But then when they saw, I showed them the plans, and then I got them in touch with the Italian manufacturer of the tile, who reassured them that the right color hues would be used, et cetera, et cetera. And I paid them $5,000 for 5 years.
Wow.
And whenever 5 years is up, I'll have to reissue that.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
So the reason I asked you to just talk about it, because what you said was a throwaway. Oh, by the way, and I had to get permission, right? And I know, because I've been with you since the beginning of this, that every detail of that house is one of those issues. Like I had to call this guy and that guy and the other guy and this girl and that girl, and everything that you did to get to maintain perfection and achieve perfection, or to get as close to perfection as you can, was hours and days and weeks and months and years. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, we just got that tile thing done by Costco and we taped it to the wall.
So I was trying to show you some of these. You're in a vampire Dracula cottage, right? So there are all these mirrors around, but you can't see yourself in them. So the idea is that that you become the vampire. And I'm going down here, going down backwards.
Yeah, be careful. Don't hurt yourself.
Down this staircase.
Yeah. Is Joe there to save you? Is Joe there or no?
Don't worry. I could just fill the time with bad jokes. Man Ray sounds like an 80s TV show. Half man, half stingray. Real tough on underwater crime. That's what I think.
Another, to your point about stuff, about tile and stuff, you can see that this tiled floor, right? So getting the grout, the right color of red, was a feat as well. This furniture, I found the skull leatherette vinyl here. I mean, that you're seeing here. on Etsy. Actually, Etsy, I got a lot of things from, and it's actually, industrial quality. And then I'll do a plug here.
Please do.
For the company called American Leather, which does a lot in hospitality. They do a lot of hotels.
Hey, Frank Boardman. He's a good dude.
There you go. They did a bang up job. And these are sofa beds as well. And we're going on 2 years now. They're like new still.
Is it true that a celebrity hotelier slept on that pull-out couch one night?
Yes, it is. It is indeed a very famous one with tons of hair on his head.
Bill Marriott was there.
Bill Marriott. Hey, tribute to Bill Marriott. He turned 90 years old yesterday.
Wow, he did.
Yeah.
So here you're in the bathroom.
Our friend Mike Stengel was there.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. That wallpapers, I remember it would discontinue. And you had to get them to continue it, right?
Good memory, Anthony. Yes. Actually, we found another company to reproduce it and make it slightly different.
Right.
This tile is meant to look like. It reminded me of like blood vessels, right? These are rope hooks.
But you know what's really cool is the shower has great water pressure. The water is warm. Everything that is supposed to function as a hotel, the air conditioning, everything functions at a high level. So it's not only beautiful.
Well, I do know about this one PTAC unit that's a little shaky.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, talk about PTAC units, Gregory. If you're close to the PTAC unit, show them. And I know we've done this last time, but show them the picture on a PTAC unit. Show them how the new ones work.
So you're looking at it there, right? I can't see what you're seeing, but can you see it, Anthony?
Yeah, a little bit. Move it a little bit to the left.
Or the right.
No, well, his left, right?
Actually, I'll do this so I can see the actual.
There you go.
So you can see it kind of so we put wallpaper inside this, the frame. They're called picture frame units. Mm-hmm. Some of them have paintings. Most of them have wallpaper, so they kind of disappear. But you can see, if you look at it in profile, that provides both heating and cooling. And it shuts. It opens and closes depending on whether it's being used. So right now it's being used, but it would close and kind of blend in with the wall. They've been great, but it's kind of new technology. So... but we're getting it down with what has to be done with them.
That's pretty cool, Gregory. I wanna bring it back to the fact that you said you managed to take a vacation, but you're so hyper focused on every little nuance of your business. Are you able to actually relax and get away when you're away? And if so, how do you actually separate yourself from it? A lot of small business owners I ask this for because it's really hard for us, for any of us, to disconnect. We feel like if we don't pay attention today, everything's going to go away.
You just asked
All right, Anthony.
He likes your question so much, he decided.
You still there?
Yeah, we're here. Oh, welcome back. So go on.
Oh no, I just lost the sound. I don't know. Wait a minute.
All right, he'll be back.
Okay, so here at No Vacancy Live, we'd like to ensure that our technology works at all times. And as you can see, sometimes it doesn't. But right. Glenn has his standard joke. Go ahead, Glenn.
Now it's weird that I'm bringing him on. Now you're going to make it seem like he's the standard.
Am I back?
So, you're back. Yes, welcome back.
Sorry about that. I touched the wrong button.
That's all right. That's what she said.
Glenn, I'm just going to be honest. Joe and I went to Costa Rica, first vacation we had in 3 or 4 years. In November, and yes, there were moments of really being able to let it go, but they were not frequent. But that's more of a personal issue, although you said you talked to other owners. But
Greg, I'm the same way. It's very hard for small business owners to disassociate because of that feeling like if I'm not in control, everything's going to fall apart. But you've also taken the time and effort to put people in roles that you trust. But that doesn't take away from the difficulty of actually separating, right?
Right. And I don't want to, I don't, it means nothing. It doesn't mean that they aren't good at what they do.
Right.
But there are also oftentimes things that they would not feel comfortable making the decision without asking us if it's something, big enough or a big enough crisis of some kind. So, yeah, it's a lot. And the thing about a hotel is, and I guess, so today is actually mom and pop day, mom and pop business day. So, so for all mom and pop businesses out there, a lot of them do close. Some restaurants close 1 or 2 nights.
I see that all the time.
Some hotels, even, like if you're on Cape Cod and you're closed, December through March.
Yeah.
We have never closed. And it's 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Would you ever consider closing for a week to give everybody a break?
We did actually, I take that back. We did actually close in December, early December, and everybody got paid for the whole week. And we had our holiday party that week. So yes, we did close this past December for a week. And I'm going to start doing, and I think we did it the previous December too. So, and I'm going to do that every December. The problem with us as the owners is we use that week to get caught up on all sorts of things that we're not able to do when we're not closed. Right.
Yeah. That's like me with the last week of the year. The media world kind of shuts down, but there's still a lot of stuff I need to get finished with and get ready to start up with.
Right. Like if you're a law firm, you've got other partners. If you're a partner, if you're whatever it is, but with a hotel, particularly a hotel where people are so specific about the theme that they want, if something comes up and you can't check them into that room, it's a big deal. And that does not happen that often.
No, but that's interesting because it's a lot different. Well, room 205 is not available. Take room 406. You can't just do that.
And that most people, that's not okay. Unless it's like a big upgrade, which I do all the time. I probably shouldn't say that too much, but almost every day.
One of the things that resonates with me is every time I talk to you, I get a sense of, that there's a lot of challenges in your business, but when you're there, you feel none of that. You look like, a little boy in a candy store, and you don't look stressed out. You don't look like this is overwhelming. You don't look like this is hard. It doesn't look like you were just dealing with an air conditioning system or whatever issue. You always look like you're the ringleader and you're having as good a time as I'm having. And I think that is the key to the success, is that you don't look like it's overwhelming you. You wait till our show to come on and tell us that.
My staff might not agree with you on that, but I do try to do that. And there's been the occasional guest, I think, that has seen me on some days, but not. I have never yelled at a guest. I've never, for the most part, they're never going to see what's going on inside.
Have you ever bum rushed a stage and slapped a guest? Have you ever done that?
Have I ever what?
Have you ever run up on stage and slapped a guest?
No. No. Oh my God. Yeah. No.
Violence is never the issue, Glenn.
Oh yeah.
Because if it was, I would have kicked your ass a long time ago.
There have been
very
that
good
I might have
point.
To. Usually, if they've mistreated an employee, that gets me like nothing else. Like do whatever want, but don't. And I train my employees. You got to take a lot. The guest is always right. All the old adages. But if you cross that boundary and mistreat an employee, that's when I go berserk.
Yeah. And I also want to say that you don't do this alone, not only with your employees, but your husband is one of the most talented human beings in the history of the face of the earth. Yes, and without him, and I can say this easily, this would never been done. This was truly a 50-50 partnership that both of your brains and abilities were needed to make this happen.
And I thought he was going to make a cameo, but he must be caught up with that PTAC issue. Yeah. But he was supposed to make a cameo. Yeah, I mean, what you see around you, he can't do all of it anymore, although, as you know, he did do all of our unit called the Fairy Forest. But he has the knowledge and the expertise to make sure that others are doing it right.
Well, he built a pumpkin.
He did indeed.
Which is incredibly magical. And again, I encourage everyone to check back our previous show from last February. Greg, I'm curious, you're dealing with a lot, but you're also super creative. I can't imagine that you're done with building this fantasy land. Any more plans for any cottages and expansions that you're tinkering with right now?
We're always tinkering.
Yeah.
Nothing on a scale like this. But anybody who follows me on social media sees that we are constantly adding every single day. Yesterday, I just repapered a wall that didn't used to have wallpaper on it in Jeannie's bottle, actually where you stayed, Anthony. It got this new incredible gold glitter wallpaper at the end of the suite where the TV is to add even more sparkle to that. I found this Venetian. You know what a Venetian mirror is? They're beautiful mirrors. So someone's actually sent me a link to one that they saw online that was green. And there was an area in our unit called the Wizard's Emeralds, which is all about the Wizard of Oz, but it's all green in there, where I thought that wall needed something more. So we just added that in that unit yesterday.
So Gregory, real quick.
Something. So that's my creative outlet, Glenn. Yes.
So real quick. Do they let you out of the asylum just on weekends or like at nights? Like when do you have to go back to the asylum?
Every night. Every night.
You're the most functioning human being I know that's out of his mind. Your attention to detail is something that is just insane. You really are, and I don't know if you like this comparison. You are the Disney of that area and of this kind of hotel, and you just bring it to a whole new level. And it's insanity, and it's beautiful to see. And as a visitor, I mean, I get the best of both worlds. We still talk about it. My kids are always talking about it. And we're also talking about, we were just talking about the other day, somebody brought up the being up there for Christmas, and they said it was wonderful, and they said the spa and the falls, and then somebody said, and we had the best lunch we've ever had up there. And the restaurant wasn't open, the one that was around the corner. So I said, listen, I'm not driving, downtown. I'm not going. I'm tired. We're going to have lunch at the gas station. So we drove into the gas station. We had a Slim Jim and potato chips, and we came back to your beautiful and a cup of soup, your beautiful resort, and we had a gas station lunch, and they really enjoyed it.
There you go. You need some Slim Jims and potato chips.
Hey, nothing better than snapping into a Slim Jim. But Greg, last question I have for you before we have to let you go so we could wrap up today. Your attention to detail is so great, and you're so hyper-focused on this stuff. Obviously, you can't just let it go completely because you continue to tweak and play with it. But how do you free yourself up from being constantly on top of everything and just be able to move on to the next thing? Because as a writer, it's like you're never really done. You just have to make peace with it at some point and then move on.
I haven't mastered that yet. I have, and I think Mr. Cameo is coming.
Oh my goodness!
He's so they know about the heating, air conditioning issue just a little bit. They don't, but Robin said that she found another unit. Anyway, yeah, we'll talk later. Okay, here he is. Excuse me.
What's up, you crazy handsome fellow? You.
Hey.
Oh, thanks. Hey. Sorry.
How are you? So my question, first of all, it's great seeing you. But so how has it been not only building in this fantasy land, but keeping him out of the insane asylum?
Keeping him out of the insane. I think it goes both ways. It's kind of this up and down thing.
Well, like I said to Gregory, just it's exceptional what you've done, and I know it's even more successful as far as busy and as far as people wanting to be there than you even thought. And it's because of the hundreds and thousands of hours you've spent creating this fantasy. So I can't wait to get back up there. Glenn, I think we need an excuse to go back and do our podcast.
We definitely,
yeah.
Honestly, we don't even need an excuse. These guys are just so awesome. We got to just go and check it out. All right, Joe, Gregory, here's your website. Everyone should check out the Roxbury Experience for a real in-depth dive at all of the original places they have. Any other things that you want to say regarding shameless plugs, guys?
Regarding shameless plugs. Well, a technical thing.
Yep.
If you go online to book, it looks like there's absolutely nothing available most of the time. And that's not always the case. To my point earlier about taking rooms offline so that we can make sure that we get to all of them. Online, it's going to look like they're not available. But always call, because sometimes we do get to more rooms than we thought we were going to for that day, or other things happen. So always call also if there's a date that you really want or a theme that you really want.
Okay, cool.
Good advice.
Excellent. Gentlemen, thank you.
Good to see you.
So much. Appreciate it. Take care, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Have a good
Love
one.
you guys.
Bye-bye.
Love
Bye-bye.
you guys. I'll see you soon.
So Mike said something. Hey, finally found someone crazier than Anthony and Glenn. Took us a long time, but we may have accomplished.
You know what, Glenn? With all due respect to your career, my career, we can't hold the candle to those guys.
No, I would collapse under the pressure pretty much instantaneously. You know,
yeah. My staff would drown me in the pool. It'd be over before it started. They're just amazing, and as amazing as they are, I mean, their team loves them, their guests love them, but their attention to detail is maddening. That's the word. It's maddening.
It sure is. And I'll tell you something else that's maddening, not checking out our audio feed. If you guys are watching our video show, make sure you download the audio version. Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Simplify your life. Make you happier. He's at Anthony Hotels. I'm at Traveling Glenn. Should we get out of here?
Before I slap you.
Thank God you're in a different city. All right, everybody. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
And Chris Rock.